Hello guys, how you doing? After a year or more of not actually being able to fly at all, I have my new flight sim rig in a semi-ready state to fly. In order to test it out, I thought I'd do some landing challenges, get some airplanes under my belt, get some controllers configured and set up, and at the same time test out my recording system, my camera positioning, etc, etc, etc. Then I kind of got into the landing challenges, and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to try and get A-class landing on all of these, and this is my first crack at it. Bearing in mind, when I started off doing this, I was merely testing out the system, and the landing was sort of a secondary option for me. Well, it's evolving into more of a passion, and I think I'm going to return back and try and get 1.5 billion on every single landing. One thing that's worth noting here, I'm not using any navigation systems, I'm not using ILS or autopilot, nothing like that. Completely hand flying, and so there's an enormous scope for improvement on all of these landings. Another thing I've noticed is that my biggest problem is hitting centre of the runway. I really struggle to do that, and it's definitely something I need to work on. And also, quite interestingly, some of my best landings don't give me my best score. So when I look at some of these landings at 1.7 million or so, I do think, my god, that's the worst landing I've done in about 4 or 5 attempts, but somehow it's got the best score. Probably because I just hit that middle part of the runway slightly better than usual, despite the rest of it being rather poor. But let's jump in and let's have a look, shall we? So you can see I'm in the A320 here. Not a plane I fly very often, I'm more of a GA pilot. Also showing off the 49-inch widescreen, curved widescreen that I'm running. I'll probably discuss that more in a future video. But here we go, you can see how off-centre I am. I'm now fighting to bring the plane back over into alignment with the runway. I'm terrible at this, really, really bad. It's an area that I need to seriously practice on. I'm also coming in on a very shallow glide slope. I want to come in at 0 feet per minute. I want to literally drive it onto the runway if I can. That's my thinking anyway. Passengers will be screaming, vomiting everywhere. The actual landing itself, not terrible. You can see me swerving all over the runway there. Obviously didn't come down very well. $1.4 million. See, I don't think that was justifiably 1.4 million, but that's what we got. And you can see actually we landed quite gently, but again it is that very much that centre issue that's causing me problems. And you'll see that that happens a lot. Now, there are a lot of bugs in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Sometimes they are double keybinds that you're not aware of. Sometimes they're completely SOBO problems. And it's very difficult to tell when it's their fault, when it's your fault, or what the difference is. So this particular landing, I was unable to complete, purely because no matter what I did, I could not get the engine RPM to go above what it was set at. And I don't quite yet know why that was. I'm going to have to come back to this one and try it out. You can see me there, trying all sorts of different configurations, resetting the throttle input, checking the mixture works, trying to get the camera down onto the actual throttle itself. Now look at this. See, that throttle is not working at all. Set it up again, flying again, and this time the plane is constantly losing altitude. Trying to force it into the air in case it's a trim issue, but no, it's not a trim issue. I can see the RPM is just staying down far too low. And I think this is my final attempt here. And you can see that the throttle works now, but does absolutely nothing in the airplane. Absolutely nothing. So I have no idea what's causing that problem. Maybe the autopilot was active. It doesn't appear to be though, because my AP light is not on. Try turning on and off the systems and the battery and everything. That didn't help. Nothing helped. I have no idea what the problem was there. Could not fly that plane. Could not get it to move. We'll have to come back to that another time. We're back in the A320. Beautiful low clouds.
500.
Low ceiling, I think they call that. Coming in over the mountains. Beautiful, beautiful game.
200. 200.
Not the worst approach, this one. About whether or not I can keep it constant. Oh, look. I've lost the runway again.
60, 50, 40, 30.
Desperately trying to pull it back to centre.
Retard. 5.
It's a very good landing, but a terrible approach. A really good, smooth landing, but I think we may have missed the mark there. What do we get from that? 1.75.5. Wow. That was quite a high score, that one. So I don't have to come back and do that one again. 1.75 is pretty good. Continuing on with the theme of the A320. Starting to get used to this aircraft now, starting to understand how the power works. Again, look at my alignment, so off, so late to adjust and fix it. I must be fixated on my landing point and not my centralization. God, that is low. I'm literally driving this one onto the runway. Oh, no, porpoise, we're going to bounce. That's a heavy landing. Boom. I almost got centre runway back, not quite, but we missed the mark and we didn't land very smoothly. I'm not expecting a high score here, 1.1 at best. Well, we have to do something about that camera position. 1.272, okay, so again, rather a thumpy landing. But again, we missed that centre of the runway. We're good at that. If there were points for missing the centre of the runway, we'd be absolutely flying through this. Right, this looks better. Better alignment. We're still trying to get her over onto the left. The runway is still skew-whiffed. We're still not centralised. Oh dear, I've let that go so far. Watching it back is painful for me. Not bad landing, slightly skew whiff on the runway. Now we're veering all over the place, so that's not going to give us many good points. We could definitely do better. Oh man alive. Put those reversers on. Actually, I think at this point I didn't have the reversers correctly configured. Although I thought I was hitting the reversers, they were not actually working. Yeah, 1.15. Not surprising. Beautiful GA flight here. Look at this. It's just stunning. This is what Microsoft Flight Simulator does so well. Genuinely, without the beauty that this game brings, it wouldn't have sold as well. It wouldn't be as popular. People would have switched back over to X-Plane. But X-Plane is now pretty ugly to look at. There's the church. Try not to hit the church. Say church, I think it's a church. The lighthouse there as well. Look at this. Oh my word, look out for the trees. Oh my gosh. I need to come in at a much steeper angle than that. And we missed the point. Oh, that was a very heavy landing as well. Very disappointed with that actually. I'm surprised that one scored 1 million. But as soon as I score 1 million, I move on. So it must have scored 1 million. What have you got for me, game? Oh, secretly out there. 1.054823. So that literally just scraped over 1 million. I don't think it was really justifiably 1 million. Oh, actually, we were bang on centre almost. Very heavy landing and missed the marker. That's so weird. Normally it's completely the other way round. How surprising. another GA flight. This is quite nice. Again, I'm not using the GPS nav aid or the FD or anything like that. Purely hand flying, just looking at the runway, trying to keep the engine and the altitude under control, and everything else is just speculative. A nice slow controlled approach. We look very centralised, which for me is a little bit unstable. A little bit unstable. There we go, we're trying to come in nice and slow and gentle. This could be good. Don't screw it up. This could be fantastic. And I know exactly what I've done wrong here. Just missed the marker. You know why that was? I've been flying A320s for the last probably couple of hours at least, and I think this was my first attempt on this one. And like I say, when I get a million, I move on. So having flown, it's the TBM-90. So having flown A320s, which are like 50 foot up in the air or whatever, I couldn't get the wheels down. They weren't where I thought they were. 1.1 million, there you go. Now, this very much looks like a Boeing 747. You can see I've got the 747 controllers, throttles on the Bravo controller. These are fantastic, actually. They're commercial. They're called the commercial throttles. And obviously we've got 4 engines, which is totally different to flying with 2 engines, because even the smallest fraction of movement gives you so much extra thrust. It's really difficult to adjust. There's me trying to turn off the autopilot. Oh, no. So I was having a problem with this, actually. The speed control was locked on. Here I am trying to show you. Look, I have absolutely no control over the throttles. One of them isn't even moving at all. The other 2 are flicking about all over the place. It took me probably a good couple of goes before I figured out how to turn off the auto speed control, auto throttle, I believe it's actually called. Here we go, coming in again. I think we've got the auto throttle under control. This looks very smooth, actually. I do not fly, although I like the Boeing 747, it's an iconic aircraft. Don't fly it ever. This is possibly one of the first times I've ever flown it. Certainly for a long time. We are way too high. Way too high. This is not going to go well. Trying to bleed off speed. Lost sight of the runway. Touchdown way too early. I believe that is going to be a million. Surely not. Oh, I wonder if this is because I couldn't figure out where the centre was. I think maybe I recorded this purely because I thought that would be centre line, and it's not. So there's me thinking I'm on the centre line, but when you look at the score, the centre line is way off. To be fair, it is meandering all over the place right now. Let's have a look and see if I'm right. Oh no, that was a million. Surprised me much. Okay, well, moving on. Here we are, and the 747 again. Again, having problems. Only 2 of the 4 engines seem to be working. No? I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, we got a problem. Only 2 of the 4 engines are working there. I think I spent a bit of time setting up the controller, making sure that we have all the controls that we need in the correct place. Desperately trying to get ourselves centralised on that runway. Again, I think I've turned the FD off. I'm pretty sure, I remember turning it off at one point. As soon as I realised it was on, because I'm not using anything that's on the screen. All I'm using is my Logitech gear, and there's no FD on the Logitech gear. But that's not true, actually. There is an FD on the Logitech gear, but it's certainly not configured to this runway. It's showing me something most different. Wow, we are coming in super high. Super high. What on earth am I doing here? Yeah. Oh my god, that's going to come down heavy. Yowza, what are you doing, man? I tell you what, I turned that around. That was a fiery explosion there. Somehow turned into a rather gentle, semi-centralised landing. Oh, it's all off now. We're not centralised anymore. I'm trying to figure out what the centre line looks like. Still trying to figure it out. Look, it's just off to the right-hand side of that MFD. Sorry. Just about there. That would be central. Very tricky to hit that. Oh yeah, wow, that didn't even hit 1 million. Why am I showing you that one? Nope, that's not 1 million. Why am I showing that one? There's me still trying to find centre line. Right, okay. It must be this one then. This looks a bit better. Slightly more controlled. Maps at 30 degrees, and if you're a 747 pilot you know that there is no 30 degrees. It's all numerical, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I don't know what it is, I just know 30 degrees on my Bravo. That's how unfamiliar with the 747 I am. Probably about notch 5 or 6, I don't know, and I don't even know what you should be using to land. This looks quite controlled. I think we're going to miss that blue marker. Or we're going to come down hard because we're so high. Yeah, fighting it. A little bit early. Barely centralised, a little bit wobbly. Not terrible. That could be 1.2. Like that. A little bit wobbly down the runway there. A little bit left to right, overcompensating. Air brakes off, reversers off. Plane just doesn't want to stop. Something to do with the brakes I found. If I take the brakes off and put them on again, they start working. Oh god, 400. See, that looked like quite a decent landing. We got 430 for it because we were so off the centre line and we landed hard. Wow, okay. Well, this must be it then. This must be the one. I'd say looking pretty good. A little bit low for a proper landing, a little bit skew. We're fighting to get her in the centre. That looks close. No, a little bit more over. No, now we're too high. Too many things going on at once. Right, that does look central. That looks centre. And we look like we're on the mark. Oh, touchdown and veered off to the left. That's such a shame. That's got to be 1 million there, but certainly nothing special. Just checking. Just checking to see if I am in the centre. That's kind of funny. Come on, what you got for me? 1.2. We'll take it and run. What we're flying here, this is the A320. Again, I'm actually using the A380 throttle pack from Honeycomb. I love this thing because the detents are actually proper detent. They actually lock into place. And the flaps controller has a nice resistance lock on it as well. What an approach this is. Absolutely stunning. I am so low in this aircraft. don't know if it would be frightening or thrilling to come in this low
100.
in real life. That looks very centralised. Obviously getting better at it each time.
60.
Only marginally, of course.
40.
Oh no, we're going to miss that.
20.
Coming in so hard. Plonk, and we missed the centre, and we missed the line. We missed everything there. Way off centre, way off line. Yeah, that's somewhat disappointing. That must just have ticked the 1 million box somehow. 1.3. Oh, we actually did better than I expected on that one. Another A320 coming in. Look at those clouds, they look so realistic. Now this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one. Because the runway is actually elevated. And I think it may even be as high, if not higher, than some of the surrounding buildings, which there was a few sort of visual tricks of the eye.
100.
So it's very controlled coming in. And we're too high. Too high.
40. 30.
Now we're going to be coming in at far too quickly, yeah. Pretty accurate though, pretty centralised for a change, but I think that landing was too hard. That is quite centralised. That's pretty good. That's probably the best I've done all day. What's the score going to be? I'm going to guess 1.3, 1.4. What? Barely scraped over 1 million. I guess that's because we landed so hard. Yeah, the landing was hard. We only got 127 points for that. That is a shame. And that says that the ground roll was 22 foot off. That's not a very good score at all. So, yeah, lots of improvement to do there. This is the last one. Look at that. How stunning is that lighting? Oh, it does look gorgeous, doesn't it? Gorgeous, gorgeous. Is this Hong Kong or something? I forget what this is. Only a little island. Well, it's not Hong Kong, obviously, but in that region, I mean. Oh yeah, this is tricky. Look at those trees. Deliberately positioned to be awkward little buggers. And they are. Probably if you're coming in at 700 foot descent and landing properly, like you would if you were a real pilot, they wouldn't be an issue, but when you try to slide it onto the runway like I am trying to do, those trees are a real pain in the buttocks.
300. 200.
Sudden descent there. Oh my word, trying to pull it out of the bag.
20.
Don't really deserve this one. We're not centralised. Even if I land there, we're going to skew off to the side here. There we go. I tried to force that down the middle. It was a good recovery from where we were, but not a good landing. .229. See, I don't think that was worthy of a higher score than the last one, but there you go. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give me advice and feedback. Next time round, I'm going to be looking to do 1.5 million. Well, once I've ticked all of the 1 million boxes, that is. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye for now.